Una po sa amin pong professor, Senator Pimentel, sa amin pong tinuturing na teacher namin dito sa Senado, at sa inyo pong lahat na aming panauhin. Ako po ay masasabi ko pong sabik na sabik sa pagdinig nito sapagkat ang akin pong panukala patungkol po sa charter ng Commission on Human Rights, sa palagay ko po ay panapapanahon na atin pong pag-usapan dahil matagal na po. Masasabi po natin na medyo ah, 1987 po ba? Tama po ba ako? Ang inyong charter. At ngayon po 2025 na. Kung atin pong bibilangin ng taon, medyo mahaba-haba na po. Marami na pong mga naganap, hindi lang po sa ating bayan, kundi sa buong mundo. So, ibig pong sabihin, nagbabago din ang pamantayan. Ano? Kung ano yung mga level sa pinag-uusapan po natin ang human rights. Ang human rights po ay masasabi natin kapatid po yan ng God-given right. So, napakahalaga po nito. Kung babalikan po natin ang ating kasaysayan, laging lalo na po sa buong politika natin ngayon, kung naririnig na po natin ng mga ganitong nangyayari sa Pilipinas, na ganito, may ganitong nangyari, may EJK, may ganito. So nasaan ang human rights ng mga panahon na ito? At nung mga nangyari po sa Davao din, nung mga nakaraan na masasabi natin na mayroong mga karapatan na nasadlak. Ano? So nasaan ang human rights? So ang tinatanong po natin, ito ba ang dahilan para bigyan natin sila ng karagdagang kapangyarihan para sa panahon nito ay makasabay ang human rights? Kasi po sa mga panahon dati, nung bata pa ako, at siguro naman ang iba dito ay parang anak ko na o ate ko na o kaedad ko, naramdaman natin talaga na may kapangyarihan ng human rights. Pero itong mga nagdaan na panahon, lagi natin tinatanong, nasan sila? So hinihingi ko po sa inyo na itong aking pong panukala ay mabigyan sila ng panibagong umpisa na uh, makatahak ng bagong landas upang sila po'y makasabay. Ano? Alam nyo, hindi lang ho dito sa Pilipinas ang usapin ng human rights, pati yung sa EU sumasabog ang issue ng human rights, international criminal court. Lahat po yan, iyan po ang issue sa buong mundo, human rights. So siguro, panahon na po talaga, mahal naming chairman, amin pong professor, na atin pong tignan at pag-aralan kung ano po itong mga nasa panukala na ito. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Padilla. Okay, so unahin na po natin yung CHR Charter. At sinabi nga ni Senator Padilla, 1987. Kasi ang legal basis yata ninyo na after the Constitution would be, was it an EO? Is it an yes?
It was an EO.
Yes, an EO, no? So, okay, so yun yata yun. So na-situate na natin. Sige, so we'll ask the committee secretary, Attorney Mortel to make of record the presence of resource persons for all the three subject matters. Thank you.
Mapagpalang hapon po sa ating lahat. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Senator Robin. Sorry, good afternoon. For the Commission on Human Rights, we have the Honorable Chairperson Richard P. Palpal-Latok, sir. From the DBM, we have Attorney Tricia M. Baraan and Ms. Joy Rico. From the GSIS, we have Attorney Lucio L.U. Jr. with Vice President for Operations Group, Rodrigo Manuel, and with them is also Attorney Giovanni Lynn Marin. For the Anti-Ticket Scalping Act, we have from the Department of Trade and Industry, Attorney Marimel Dancel Porcuncula, Assistant Director for the Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau, FTEB. With her is Attorney Mariel Aviles, Senior Trade Industry Development Specialist. And likewise, they have Ms. Danielle Nicole Segovia from the Consumer Protection and Advocacy Bureau. From the National Bureau of Investigation, we have Attorney Abram Geronaga, Executive Officer of the Fraud and Financial Crimes Division. From the SM Lifestyle Entertainment Inc., they are represented by Attorney Ronhel Vin Papa. From TicketNet, we have the General Manager, Ms. Karen Nicasio Santa Ana. And with her is Legal Counsel Attorney Raymond Romano. Likewise, Mr. Chairman, we have from the Live Nation Philippines, the Managing Director, Ms. Riza Pascua. Afternoon, ma'am. And with her is Ms. Isabella Pascua, Director and Corporate Secretary of the said corporation. From the Consumers Union of the Philippines, we have their President, Mr. Rodel Taton. Good afternoon, sir. And with them is Secretary General of the group, Attorney Vanessa Marie Hoyos, and their member, Mr. Joseph Bernard Marzan. For the Digital Nomads Visa Act of our hearing this afternoon, from the Bureau of Immigration, we have Attorney Victor Andrew Siriban. From the Department of Tourism, we have Assistant Secretary Charlene Zabala Batin. And from the Bureau of Internal Revenue, we have Attorney Roseanne Bonaobra, Attorney Rambi Agabao, Attorney Giselle Marie Galvez, and Attorney Laika Ley Tolentino. For the information of the chairman, sir, we also invited Dole, but they are not yet here, and as well as the DOJ, but the person in charge is at the prior commitment. That is all, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. So, but I am elated and glad that the BIR is represented by 4 lawyers. So they want to make sure that the nomads will be taxed properly. Yan. I'm sure yun ang mission nila dito, pinadala ni Commissioner. Make sure matax. Pero mamaya, i-discuss natin kasi di ba balance eh. Gusto natin i-attract. Ayaw naman natin siyempre masyadong pigain na to the point na hindi sila ma-attract to come here. But okay, we go back to our first subject matter, the CHR Charter. So we will recognize the chairman of the CHR, Chairman Palpalato. Yes, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have an opening statement. Magandang umaga po, Mr. Chair of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, Senator Aquilino Pimentel, the third, and the member of the committee, Senator Robin Hood C. Padilla, and the rest of the members of the committee. No less than the Constitution mandated the creation of an independent commission on human rights and enumerated its powers and functions. Pursuant to this constitutional fiat, Executive Order was issued in May 5, 1987, establishing the Commission on Human Rights. Executive Order, however, did not elaborate the powers and functions of the CHR. As a result, the Commission has encountered challenges in the exercise of its mandate. The Commission was vested by the fundamental law the power and function to investigate all violations of human rights involving civil and political rights. Although the Constitution is not explicit with respect to economic, social, and cultural rights, the Commission interprets its mandates broadly to include monitoring and investigation of economic, social, and cultural rights violation, considering that human rights are interdependent and universal. Besides, our country has subsequently ratified the International Covenant on Economic and Social and Cultural Rights. This interpretation is also supported by the minimum international standards for the establishment of national human rights institutions, called the Paris Principle, that requires national human rights institutions to have broad mandate. Against this backdrop, the CHR and human rights community has been, for years, advocating for the enactment of a CHR charter that will clarify its status, structure, mandate, composition, power, and methods of operation that will strengthen the CHR in terms of protection and promotion of human rights. Internationally, the strengthening of the Commission on Human Rights as the National Human Rights Institution of the Philippines is among the recommendations during the 41st session of the UPR Working Group in November 2022. Similar recommendations were made by various treaty bodies such as the Committee Against Torture, the Committee on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the Committee on Civil and Political Rights. The same recommendations are echoed as well by different special rapporteur. Hence, we in the CHR are glad and grateful to be invited to this hearing of the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights for the deliberation of the CHR Charter Bills, Senate Bill number 2487 filed by Senator Manuel M. Lapid, Senate Bill number 2440 filed by Senator Robin Hood Padilla, and the Senate Bill number 2582 filed by Senator Loren Legarda. The bills ensure the Commission, as the country's national human rights institution, a broad mandate to investigate not just for violation of civil and political rights, but also economic, social, and cultural rights violations, as well as other sectoral human rights concerns. It also provides a clear, transparent, and participative process for the selection and appointment of the members of the Commission. It ensures protection against reprisals, such as filing of criminal and administrative cases that have no support in law and in evidence, and thus may hamper significant work to protect the victims of human rights violations from further harm. It is hoped likewise that the matter of fiscal autonomy of the Commission in such a way that its full fiscal autonomy is considered as an element of its independence. The Constitution and the EO Executive Order number 163 is clear that the Commission is an independent body focused on safeguarding the rights of every Filipino, regardless of age, religion, sex, gender, or social stature. It thus needs to have the power to allocate funds according to its priorities and to enable it to respond to the demands of the times. With the CHR Charter, the Commission could better fulfill its mandate as human rights watchdog as envisioned by the Constitution, and to perform its bridging role between and among the different stakeholders as mandated by international human rights principles. With that, Your Honor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Who else among our resource persons wants to share or give us some inputs from DBM? Ayan, itong suki natin to si Atty. Baraan. Sige po, ma'am.
Good afternoon po, Mr. Chair, Senator Padilla, and to everyone po. First of all po, we recognize po the intention of the bill, and we recognize the independence of the CHR and its creation under the Constitution po. So, we'd like to manifest po 3 points on the fiscal autonomy, organization, structure, and on earmarking po. So first, on the fiscal autonomy, we would like to state po and note that the fiscal autonomy of CHR is not equivalent po to the other constitutional commissions and the SC. So, as we can see po, in the Constitution expressly provided under Article 9, Section 5, that the constitutional commissions enjoy fiscal autonomy. However po, under the provision on CHR, it only provides that the approved annual appropriations of the Commission shall be automatically and regularly released. And also, may Supreme Court decision na rin po na clarifying the autonomy of the CHR, which is only limited autonomy lang po. So, and just to manifest and to clarify po. And on the organization naman, we also recommend that the CHR to review their existing organization structure, baka may mga pwede lang pong i-strengthen, and the same shall be subject to the review and approval of the DBM po, evaluation and approval of the DBM. And dun po sa earmarking, may I think yung two Senate bills po indicated earmarking. So, yung current fiscal position po ng government, and we recommend that the same be subject to the usual budget process without indicating po the specific amount in the bill. And finally, dagdag ko na rin po sa mayroon din pong proposal on the creation of institution. I think may existing na po rin na unit under the CHR which conducts mga trainings. So baka pwede po nilang i-reconsider without the need of creating po an institute up. Thank you po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Attorney Baraan of the DBM. GSIS, I think you're well represented this afternoon, so thank you very much. So who will speak for GSIS? Attorney Yu. Sige
Good
po.
afternoon,
Yes, sir.
Chair, Senator Padilla. Thank you for inviting GSIS for the deliberation of this bill. We fully support the bill, and the effect of GSIS is only, I think, on Section 11, but currently on the retirement benefits. But currently, the CHR, as mandated by Administrative Order number 137 or 37 last 137 2005, they were already the chairman and the commissioners were already given the same rank as the justices of the Court of Appeals. So with that provision, by that AO, they are considered a special member of the GSIS, so they have a separate retirement law, the chairman and the commissioners. But the other officers and employees are still under the coverage of GSIS. Mukhang wala man ng bago dito. I think it's still provided in Section 11 that the chairman and the commissioner shall have the same rank as the justices of the Court of Appeals, and the survivorship benefits shall be equivalent to 100%. Ganun yata, no? Of the salary of the deceased chairman or commissioner, which is nag-iba, no? Because under the GSIS it's 50%. But again, because they are considered a special member, so hindi naman sa GSI. So I understand this is allocated by the DBM or the government as special member, no? So yun, I don't think there will be any changes since wala namang provision. So the other officers and employees, upon the effectivity of the bill, will still be a member of the GSS, and they can still under the retirement laws of GSIS.
Pwede pong i-clarify kasi medyo ngayon ko lang ito nalaman din. Ano? So, ilang commissioners, Chairman? Five.
One chair and members.
Chairman and 5 commissioners.
Four, only 4.
And 4. Chairman and 4 commissioners, they are
Considered as
not considered. They are considered as GSIS members. Tama?
special members.
Special members.
But not under the coverage. Hindi na ho under the coverage ng GSIS.
So paano yung retirement nila? Directly from the CHR?
May appropriations at
By appropriation, Your Honor.
By appropriation. But the formula that kasi syempre, the appropriation is the amount. How do we arrive at the amount? What is the formula?
Well, the provision of the executive order, I think EO or AO is similar to the members of the judiciary.
Judiciary. Okay, sir. So so every year we must not forget to appropriate, ganon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Otherwise, pag malimutan, walang matatanggap for that
Yes,
calendar year.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, ganun pala ka-sensitive ito. May any other agency na ganyan na pagtrato?
Yes, I think National Labor NLRC,
Okay. Yan, inote nyo ngayon.
PAO, Public Attorney's Office, the Department of Justice. Although the Department of Justice, halos lahat ng fiscals they are under that special law. Iba ding ano nila, they have different scheme. No? Of course, members of the judiciary, matagal na silang
Iba,
special
iba
member.
naman talaga yan. No?
Other constitutional body, commissions like Civil Service, COMELEC, and COA.
Okay, nagugulat lang ako dun sa executive branch kasi dapat ang general rule, GSIS eh. So nagugulat ako
Yes.
na DOJ, NLRC, ano pa
Yes.
isa?
PAO.
PAO.
Oh.
Oo.
Yes, because these agencies also have been given special laws, no? Marami pang, I think we also attended DFA hearing because they also want a separate retirement, parang ganun. So, even OGCC and OSG.
Energy regulatory.
Chairman, you contribute to any binabawasan din
Yes, Your Honor. Meron po kaming contribution sa GSIS.
sa GSIS.
Yes. Kaya lang special member po, iba po yung rate. Iba yung rate.
And yet your benefits are GAA.
Yes.
So parang donor kayo sa GSIS, bali.
No,
May
Sinabalik
sinasabi ko yata yung
hindi.
may special ano yata.
Yes. Ever since, if an agency would become a special, for example, the chairman commissioners will become special members, they will only contribute a premium equivalent to the life insurance. So wala na yung retirement. So for example, chairman,
Okay, wala sila.
the chairman will now contribute, but only for the life insurance portion.
Life insurance.
So you're still insured sa life insurance under GSIS.
Oo. Okay, tama. Okay, sa life insurance. Okay, but that's only good for the 5 people in the CHR. All the rest, they follow general rule.
They're
General
still under GSIS.
regular USIS coverage. So thank you for that. And then point out nyo, Attorney Yu, that the bill does not change anything
Yes, as currently worded.
as far as the current system is
Yes.
concerned.
May I be allowed?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yun lang kung regarding the retirement benefits of the members of the commission. Kasi kung nabanggit po kanina yung other agencies, may mga special laws po sila. So may special provision for retirement. Ang CHR po ay wala. So ang pinanghahawakan lamang po namin yung executive order kung saan sinasabi na yung members of the Commission on Human Rights shall enjoy the same benefits. Pero hindi ho klaro. Unlike other constitutional commissions, other agencies, very clear na ito yung inyong retirement benefits. Ang commission po, dahil wala kaming charter, yun lang po yung inaasahan namin.
Pero if measured by the letter of the EO, nasusunod. Kung ano yung plinano ng EO about your retirement, nasusunod
Opo.
hanggang ngayon.
Nasusunod po, except that unlike other bodies or agencies na meron na survivorship pensions, sa amin po wala.
Ayun, yan ang bago. The second paragraph of section 11 of SB 2487 as ginagamit natin reference. Yun ang bago.
Yes, Your Honor.
Bago.
Kasi katulad ho nung
Tapos bago na siya, although that concept survivorship benefits applicable sa iba, yung percentage of the survivorship benefit iba rin. Special concession din. Medyo mataas. 100%.
100%.
Which is sa ibang provisions may
50%.
survivorship benefit, hindi 100%.
Hindi pa. 50%.
So para lang to incentivize din people to serve sa CHR ganun as commissioner or chairman. Kasi kanila lang ito ulitin natin sa kanilang 5 lang ito ha. Tama? Okay.
Yes.
Sige. Okay. And then a survivorship benefit is only for the surviving spouse. Yan ba yun? Ganun ba yun? Para lang maintindihan ko. Although na-encounter ko na to sa ibang mga batas eh.
For the GSIS law, a surviving legitimate spouse and children, dependent children.
In sequence. Surviving spouse muna. Ganun ba yun?
Yes.
And then, if the surviving spouse dies na,
No, they can
they share. They share. May formula na doon.
May formula lang, iba lang
Okay.
yung formula.
In this particular case sa CHR, basta conscious lang tayo, surviving legitimate spouse lang itong pinag-usapan dito.
Yes,
Tama?
I think under the
Okay.
bill, if knock on wood, if if the commissioner or the chairman will die, the survivors can receive the same
Correct.
retirement benefits as sa GSS hindi 50% lang. So
Okay,
that
kaya nga. Pero dito, no mention of children dito, dependent children.
uh, I think that's what the chairman medyo linawin lang siguro.
Sa bill po, wala,
Kaya,
wala naman.
ang gusto ko sabihin, okay, suggestion ko nga, pag-aralan niyo yung mga different
Yes.
expressions of the survivorship benefits, then kunin nyo na lang yung what is the best
Yes,
model, ilagay nyo na dyan. So,
Apo.
surviving legitimate spouse, and iba kasi may dependent
Dependent
children
children, yes.
mention eh.
We will do that, Your Honor.
Tapos natatapos na lang yata yan after the lifetime of the dependent child or when the child is no longer dependent. Parang ganun.
18 years
Upon age of majority.
age of majority.
Even upon reaching age of majority, kung dependent.
If dependent.
Siguro. Yeah. So ganun na. So ano nyo na lang. Sige, any other inputs on the CHR charter? BIR, meron? How about our concert goers? Meron tayo? Pero, Senator Padilla, kasi meron din akong tanong about after Senator Padilla.
Maraming salamat po, aming tagapangulo. Tanong ko lang po, medyo doon po sa atin po, Chairperson. Maganda po yung punto ni Atty. Tricia. Pero sa atin po mga pag-uusap, lagi natin na bumabalik tayo doon sa kapag wala yung fiscal autonomy, parang lagi tayong nasa mercy kung sino yung parang nawawala yung independence. So ano po kaya ang pwede nating sabihin ngayon kay Atty. Tricia dahil nagkabanatan na tayo ng parehong konstitusyon, ano bang dapat natin gawin? Konstitusyon na ba ang dapat nating amendahan tungkol dito sa fiscal autonomy? Dahil ako, talagang pang naniniwala ako sa sinasabi ng Commission on Human Rights na kailangan talaga nila may fiscal autonomy para hindi sila na-blackmail o na anuman ng kung sino man yung nakaupo. Talagang sila meron sila talagang kapangyarihan. So yun, nandun po ako sa posisyon na yun. Ang tanong ko lang, kasi sinabi ni Atty. Tricia na nag-uopisina dito, paano tayo ngayon? Okay.
Maraming salamat po. Siguro hindi naman ho kailangan amyendahan agad ang ating saligang batas. Amin hong suggestion ay balikan ho natin yung deliberation ng Constitutional Commission nung ginawa itong provisions ng creation of the Commission on Human Rights. Dahil kung atin ho susuriin, yun hong lahat ng mga tanggapan na binuo sa ating saligang batas, binigyan ho ng fiscal autonomy. Kahuli-hulihan kasi itong Commission on Human Rights nung panahon na yan, nung ginawa. Pero makikita ho natin na klaro ang intensyon ng ating framers of the Constitution na bigyan ng fiscal autonomy ang komisyon. Kung ano man ho kailan.
Naniniwala po ako sa iyo kasi galing sa revolusyon eh.
Tama.
Galing tayo sa revolusyon noon ng 1987. No? So dapat siguro doon nga sila dapat nakasentro dahil yun nga yung sigaw noon eh, yung human rights eh. So siguro paliwanag mo pa ito, medyo magkakapi pa ako.
Sige po. Kung yun nga po, kung atin susuriin, yung nais ng ating framers ng Constitution na bigyan talaga ng independence sa itong komisyon na ito at magiging malaya at maging makapangyarihan upang magtaguyod at magprotekta sa karapatang pantao dahil sabi niyo nga ho, galing ho tayo dun sa bahagi ng ating kasaysayan na upang tugunan itong kasaysayan na ito. Kung atin susuriin, hindi lang siya naging parehas ng provision compared do sa other offices or commissions na ginawa. Pero ang intention, kung babalikan ho natin ang kanilang deliberasyon, parehas po halos yung kanilang intention. Lamang, hindi na ilagay yung provision na full fiscal autonomy. Ngayon, dahil po dun sa talata lamang na yun ay nabago ang intensyon ng maaring nabago yung intensyon ng ating framers ng saligang batas tungkol dito.
Maraming salamat po. Yun po, mahal naming tagapangulo, yun po yung lagi naming pinag-uusapan sapagkat kung ano pa yung pinakadahilan ng revolusyon na yun, ay yun pa ang nagkaroon ng pagkukulang. Kaya po sana ito pong pag-uusap na ito, malinawan natin kung paano po magkakaroon talaga ng autonomiya, totoong autonomiya ang ating human rights. Dahil napakahalaga po nito. Maliban sa anuman, ito ang pinakamahalaga. Ang karapatan ng bawat Pilipino, mayaman, mahirap, matanda, bata, anuman ang kanyang kasarian, kailangan po ay ang ating human rights ay may autonomiya.
May karagdagan pa po akong sasabihin dahil tayo ho ay miyembro ng United Nations at ang United Nations po ay nagpasa ng isang resolution. I think it's a resolution. Yun pong binanggit ko kanina, yung Paris Principles. Itong Paris Principles ang tinatakda niya, ang National Human Rights Institution ay maging independente. Ang isa sa mga saligan para maging independent ang isang National Human Rights Institution ay fiscal autonomy. Yun po yung hinihiling at tinatakda ng International Human Rights Framework or isang resolusyon po ito ng United Nations kung saan tayo kasapi. So, bagamat wala, hindi klaro sa ating saligang batas, ay nandun naman po sa ating tungkulin bilang miyembro ng nagkakaisang bansa sa Paris Principles.
Principles is a treaty, as far as you know, Chairman.
It's a resolution, I think. It's
A UNGA,
Human Rights Council resolution.
Rights Council resolution, meant to be followed followed by state members as best practices, parang gano'n?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, so pagdating sa the National Human Rights Institution to be independent, sa Constitution yun, nag-guarantee sa inyo eh.
Yes.
Pero ang sinasabi mo sa amin sa Paris Principles, they gave the details of what is the meaning of being independent as, did they use the phrase fiscal autonomy?
Yes, Your Honor.
Andun?
Apo.
Did they define the phrase fiscal autonomy?
Tignan nga.